Clothing has been a staple throughout human history. Early clothes were loose-fitting and functional in keeping warm and covered, but that's about it. As time progressed, we looked for a better-fitting piece of clothing to make for easier movement as well as for fashion. It is believed the first ornamental buttons came into existence sometime around 2000 BC, followed much later on by the first functioning buttons around the 13th century. Snaps and zippers followed in the late 1800s and early 1900s respectively. Since then, the three have combined to merge fully functional clothing with the highest fashion. In some cases, the fasteners themselves can be the main fashion accessory or as a means of corporate branding. Let's find out how much thought has to go into making that happen.
The first types of fasteners for clothing were actually straight pins that were used by ancient people. Then towards the Greeks and the Romans, they got into brooches, which are called fibula, which a lot of people have seen in the movies and things like that. But it wasn't actually until the Middle Ages where we actually saw buttons of what we know them of now. And they would have been made of different materials than what we use now, like wood, bone, things like that, as metal became more prominent towards the Industrial Revolution in the 17 and 1800s. So they came actually about probably around the Middle Ages is what we know of as how we use buttons today. The evolution of fasteners within the clothing industry has changed over the years, mostly due to the materials that were used. The function of the fasteners hasn't really changed. We had straight pins in ancient times. We went to brooches and other types of clasps that would have held fabric together. The military industry has evolved over the years just basically due to not only the types of materials that would have been used to make the fasteners, but also the types of fasteners that are readily available. And so over the years, for example, in the Civil War, you would have had a type of button that would have just simply gone through the buttonhole like we know of as a pair of jeans today. Fast forward to today, you go through, zippers that were invented in 1850s. You get into jumpsuits for the Air Force in the early 1900s, to bomber jackets, and then into the modern times with the military where you have the IOTV vests, which are the improved outer tactical vests.
You may be surprised about how many different options there are when it comes to clothing fasteners.
Many different industries use fastener products in their applications. The obvious ones that probably come to mind are the apparel industry, but they're also used in other applications. The military uses them for vests or parts of uniforms. The sporting goods industry uses them in football helmets or ski helmets. Boating or marine industry uses them for awnings or covers.
It really is quite amazing how much thought and design goes into making the various fasteners that on the surface seem so simple.
Some of the rationale around why you would vary the type of fastener to be used in a product application really relies essentially, if it's in the apparel industry, on the weight and the heaviness of the fabric that it's being incorporated into.
In the design process, we look at what the end use is going to be. So that allows us to determine what base metal. If it's going to be exposed to the elements, we may use a more durable stainless steel type alloy. If it's for apparel, we may look for a more malleable materials such as some brass alloy.
Clothing takes a beating. Countless washes using detergents and soaps can really cause some damage. It's important that buttons, snaps, and zippers are made to last.
We have the ability to do pull-off strengths. We want to make sure that the fastener stays attached to the garment and does not pull away. So a lot of those durability tests will make sure 40 pounds will not remove the product from, remove the fastener from the garment. But some of the industrial applications we use, they may be for truck tarp covers, so we may measure the amount of strength in hundreds of pounds. The fashion industry is looking for new creative colors, new creative designs, and what we want to do is that fastener is part of the overall look of the garment. So what we have developed is certain type of surface finishes that we can put over these creative type finishes that give it the durability in the normal wash cycle. And what our goal is to have a finish on a garment that will hold up to 300 wash cycles before you have any deterioration of the final finish.
Today's fasteners aren't just for function. Yes, that is certainly the most important aspect, but many top designers are incorporating the brand into the design and may even act to enhance the look of the apparel.
Consumers actually consider the branding on the garment part of their image as well. They're associated with that company or with that brand image.
I think the reason that the designers like to vary the fastener that is used on their on their product is. It's a way for them to differentiate the message that they're trying to give to either the retailing community or probably more importantly to the consumer. It's a way of giving some identity to the garment itself, and in a lot of ways it supports the marketing and the design concept that they have for either their retailer or as a retailing brand.
On the average week, we're making 80 million snap fasteners a week. So 80 million is a pretty big number.